Today, we are going to unlock one of the most powerful tools for your financial future: investing. Seriously, by the end of this, you're going to have a clear, step-by-step plan to get started in 2025. So let's just dive right in.
For so many of us, the answer to this is a big, flashing yes. The whole world of finance can feel super complicated, maybe even a little intimidating, especially when you see all those crazy headlines about the market. But I'm here to tell you that feeling is completely normal, and it's something we're going to move past together.
Because here's the thing, on the other side of that initial fear, there is just incredible potential. We're not just talking about some numbers on a screen. We are talking about building real, tangible, long-term financial security. It can be the single most powerful thing you ever do with your money.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the big why. Then, we'll uncover the absolute easiest ways to begin. After that, we'll look at the essential tools you'll need, learn a smarter way to invest, and finally, we'll lay out your exact next steps. Simple as that.
All right, part one. Your financial future starts now. Let's really dig into the core reason this whole journey is just so incredibly important. Look, a savings account is absolutely essential for emergencies, no doubt about it, but it's not a wealth-building tool. Over time, this sneaky thing called inflation slowly eats away at the value of your cash. Investing, on the other hand, is the engine that helps your money actually outpace inflation so your wealth and your buying power can truly grow.
So how does that growth actually happen? Well, it all comes down to this incredible, almost magical concept called compounding. This is the point where your investment earnings start generating their own earnings. It's like a snowball of growth that just gets bigger and bigger on its own.
To really see this snowball effect in action, imagine starting with just $1,000. Now, if we assume a historical market average of a 10% annual return, after 40 years, that single $1,000 could grow to over $45,000 without you adding another single penny. That right there is the incredible power of time in the market.
Okay, so where do you put that snowball so it can really start to work its magic? That brings us right to Section 2, retirement accounts. For most beginners, this is without a doubt the perfect place to start. The two main players here are the employer-sponsored 401k and the individual retirement account, or IRA, which pretty much anyone with earned income can open. Just think of them as these special containers for your investments that come with some really powerful tax benefits.
Now, the key difference between the traditional and Roth versions of these accounts is actually pretty simple. It's all about when you pay your taxes. With a traditional account, you get a tax break today. But with a Roth, you pay your taxes today, which means your withdrawals and retirement are completely 100% tax-free.
Now, the government encourages this kind of saving with those tax breaks, but of course, there are limits. For an IRA in 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000. And hey, if you're 50 or over, you can even add an extra $1,000 on top of that.
For a 401k, the limits are way higher. In 2025, you can put away up to $23,500 with an even bigger catch-up contribution. And this is crucial. This number doesn't even include an employer match, which is basically free money and one of the best deals in all of finance. Okay, let's move on to Section 3, investment options. So you've opened the account, now what? What do you actually put inside it? Let's build your toolkit.
First up, you have stocks. When you buy a stock, you are literally buying a tiny little piece of ownership in a public company. These are the primary engine for long-term growth in any portfolio.
Then, on the other side of the spectrum, you have bonds. A bond is basically just a loan that you make to a corporation or a government, and in return, they pay you interest. Bonds are designed to be the more stable, reliable part of your portfolio.
Now, for most people starting out, this is the easiest way to go. Instead of trying to pick individual stocks and bonds, you can just buy a mutual fund or an ETF. These are like pre-packaged baskets that hold hundreds of different investments. They give you instant diversification, which is the golden rule of managing risk.
Two of the most popular options for beginners are index funds and target date funds. An index fund is super simple. It just buys all the stocks in a major market index, like the S&P 500. A target date fund is the true set-it-and-forget-it option. You just pick the fund with the year closest to when you think you'll retire, and it automatically gets safer as you get older. And that whole idea of simplicity brings us perfectly to Section 4, invest smarter. See, the key to long-term success isn't about being busy all the time. It's about setting up the right habits and the right mindset from the start.
This brings us to a really crucial distinction: active trading versus passive investing.
Active traders are constantly buying and selling, trying to time the market. Passive investors, on the other hand, buy a diversified fund and just hold on. And the evidence on this is just overwhelming. For the vast majority of people, that passive, set-it-and-forget-it approach delivers better returns with way less stress.
With that in mind, here are 2 major mistakes you want to avoid. First, checking your accounts constantly. This almost always leads to panic selling when the market inevitably dips. And second, remember that retirement accounts are for, well, retirement. Tapping them early can lead to some pretty significant taxes and a nasty 10% penalty, which really hurts your long-term growth.
Finally, that brings us to Section 5, your next move. We've covered the why and the how. Now let's put it all together into a solid, concrete plan you can use today.
This might be the most important slide of the whole presentation. How much money do you need to start investing? $1. That's it. These days, with no minimum accounts and fractional shares, the biggest barrier isn't money. It's just getting started. You don't need to be rich to invest. You invest to build wealth.
So here it is, your logical path forward. Step 1, build a solid emergency fund in a safe savings account. Step 2, get a handle on any high-interest debt you have. And Step 3, start investing, even if it's just a small amount each month. The habit of being consistent is so much more important than the amount you start with.
And so we'll end here. Building a secure financial future isn't some giant, scary leap. It's really just a journey that starts with a single step. The only question left is, what will your first step be?